listening to the Palmetto Dugout Show, hosted by State Director Sammy Esposito, Associate Scouts Drew Stewart and Sean Smith, that discuss all things related to amateur baseball in South Carolina. Here are your hosts.
Welcome in to the Palmetto Dugout Show, episode 130, because we've been doing this a long time.
We have 130 of them, boy. Hey, and it's the OGs back at it, me and you. You know what I mean?
Who started it? This is our 130th anniversary. We got
yeah, woo, I don't know
what a
what
way to
that's
celebrate.
about us,
We're just gonna we'll remove Austin and Sean's name off the graphic here soon. But nonetheless,
call this the OG podcast.
Just the two of us. Remember, we introed with that song to begin with. We had Marvin serenading us as we started the podcast. But anyway, Coach, big show ahead. We'll kind of jump right into it here. We've had the high school previews. You got basically the college previews, as we say. But let's bring him on, Coach Kuhn at Charleston Southern. What's going on, Coach?
Drew, how are you? Sammy, great to see both of you. Thank you so much for having me. I can't tell you what it means to be on your 130th show, both of you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just caught that anniversary edition. And that you allow me to go in front of Coach Bakich at Clemson and not behind him. He's a tough act to follow. I appreciate both of the opportunities to be on the 130th and go before Coach Bakich. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you.
You know, there's a lot of things, Dr. Kays, as you understand, in the world of anniversaries and gifts. I couldn't have asked for a better anniversary gift than having you on the show tonight. So, and then also on top of that, the new swag that is being represented right there across your chest right there for the Bucks. So rocking some new gear coming out for this year for the boys down there.
Thank you.
In Charleston Southern.
Thank you for noticing, Sammy. I appreciate it.
It's the little things, When the doctor hops on the show, we got to let it go.
Not only do you keep up with all of things baseball in the States, you also raid my wardrobe, and I really appreciate that, Sammy. Thank you so much.
It's our updated rankings this upcoming winter is not going to be about the players. It's going to be about the gear. So we're gonna do the gear rankings across all baseball, and we're gonna move on from players. So we're gonna switch it up.
Smart move.
Switch it up. We'll anger some people in a different way.
Smart move. Thanks for next week I'm gonna allow you to have your 131st anniversary with Coach Bakich. So here we go. Let's kick it off, buddy.
Well, first of all, Coach, again, appreciate you hopping on. Obviously, we're going to kind of let you tell the story, but I've had a great opportunity of knowing you in this coaching world for a long time. I had a great relationship with you for a long time, and getting a chance to compete and coach against you and being in a special facilities buildings over the year and coaching against you in opposite dugouts. But let's give the people out there and give you a little spiel of kind of your rundown in the coaching ranks and kind of where you've been and what has led you to this point of being the head coach here at Charleston Southern.
Well, Coach, we're not going to get into how long you and I know each other because then we're going to get into birthdays, and we don't want to do that. It's maybe the 130th year we've known each other too, by the way. So that being said, I mean, I was fortunate to get my first Division I job at Charleston Southern 30 years ago, actually 33 years ago as the pitching coach. And, it's come full circle, but there's been many stops, a couple, 4 stops on the way. But got the opportunity to be the pitching coach here in 94, 5, and 6. And this year is the 30th anniversary of Charleston Southern winning the Big South Championship for the first time ever in school history and the only time in baseball in school history. So I'm really, really happy and excited to celebrate that with some guys and alumni and former players of mine coming back to celebrate that this year. And then from there, I ended up spending 7 years at the University of Arkansas, Little Rock. And these early years, Sammy, as you get to, it means the world to us as a young coach, but we ended up mixing some things together that blow up in our face. But then when we get to South Carolina or you get to Virginia, you don't want it to blow up in your face. So all those early places that you've been, they're kind of your chemistry lab. And as you and I are both trying to climb that coaching ladder when we were young, the good Lord delays, he doesn't deny, and he just tries to get it right. And if we could just be patient on the way up, hopefully we can get it right when we get there. And then met Brian O'Connor when I was at Arkansas Little Rock through a mutual friend who went to college with Coach O'Connor at Creighton. And crazy enough, he knew him, I knew the other guy, and Coach O'Connor was at Notre Dame. And then 3 years after he and I met, he got the job at Virginia and asked me to come with him. And that was, basically the break. I played baseball at the University of Florida, got to wear orange and blue, and then I coached at Virginia, got to wear orange and blue. And Sammy, you're a heck of a lot smarter when you're wearing that black and red than you are wearing something else, right? And I was a heck of a lot smarter wearing orange and blue than I was black and red at Arkansas Little Rock and blue and gold at Charleston Southern. So, got to Virginia, and at one point we were the longest tenured coaching staff in the country, being together. We were all together for 16 years. Coach McMullen is still with Coach Oak now at Mississippi State. But I broke up the trifecta and went off and wanted to be a dad and see my boys. Been very fortunate. My sons have been to Omaha 4 times. They've cried their eyes out when we lost to Vanderbilt, and they cried their eyes out when we beat Vanderbilt. And you got to go through the fire a little bit to get to the brimstone, and it's good that they got to experience that. But in the midst of it, as we all do, Drew, I don't know if you're married, but our wives are the superstars, and and both Sammy and I have married well over our skis, and Miss Katrina, my wife, has brought the boys everywhere and done everything with them with baseball and here and there. And, this job, it gets you to miss a lot. It gives you a lot, but you miss a lot. And so wanted to, I'll tell you a quick little story if we got a minute. But Coach Jackson, who is now back at North Carolina, a dear friend of mine, who used to be the head coach at Liberty, and we pulled up one day for a Tuesday game, Sammy, and we pull it up at 4:00, and they're taking batting practice, and both Coach Jackson's sons are taking BP with his team. They're on the field at Liberty. They go right behind Liberty Christian, and I'm sitting up on the hill on the bus, and I'm looking out the window, grabbing my hat and everything and my briefcase, and I go, you know what? That would be pretty cool. And so, when the time was right, jumped a little bit and took the plunge to be a head coach. I don't think COVID was in the brochure for any of us. And that kind of derailed some things. And then lo and behold, I get the opportunity to come to Charleston Southern and thought I was just going to, I've had my time in the sun and then just, was going to be the pitching coach, and things kind of matriculated, and the athletic director, decided to move in another direction. And lo and behold, we were fortunate enough to be here, and he asked me to be the head coach, and so did the president. And I'm very, very grateful to both. And last year was our first year, and we had a pretty good year. We finished with the second best record in school history, 31 wins. The year before, I think we had 18 or 19. And so it was a pretty big turnaround. We finished, we played for the conference championship, and of course Upstate won it. And they had a great team, and their coaches did a great job, and they deserved to win it. And, but little old Charleston Southern, we had the nation's leader in RBIs in all of Division I baseball came from Charleston Southern. And Caden Smith did a heck of a job, and our offensive coaches did a great job coaching him. And in this day and age, Sammy, I'm sure we'll get to it here in a little bit, but in this day and age, that young man didn't try to go get paid, and he stayed true to his word, and he stayed here at Charleston Southern. And we appreciate him. We appreciate his word. We appreciate his family, the way he was raised. And we're grateful that he stayed here. And so that's it. So we're starting our second year, and everybody only one person that could go in the portal that was in the starting nine left. And other than that, it's business as usual. So we're excited for next year.
Yeah. So now rolling into year two, and while you were kind of on that, I'll kind of flip to this, and we'll come back to Charleston Southern in general, but kind of talk a little bit about recruiting. You talked about in the portal, right? The portal's big. The portal's everywhere. I feel like I've just walked through the portal where I'm at right now at my kids' movie night here at Brendan Elementary. So I'm in this portal right now. But recruiting in the day and age of today, right? And I think it gets lost, right? And as you know, right, people are always like, well, back when I was doing this, or back when, like, that's long gone. We can, that is a non-existent thing anymore. What happened 5, 10, 15 years ago does not matter. And you are living it. You are living it every single day. You are recruiting the players, whether they are high school, whether they're in the transfer portal, junior college, whatever it is. And we're doing it on our side where parents will ask us questions, or, hey, what do you think of this? And they'll go, well, I talked to so-and-so, and he said, well, if you do this, it worked for me back in 1998. And I'm like, well, that's great. It doesn't matter anymore. We're in a new day and age of this recruiting world, and what it was, not even close to it. And what it might be 6 months from now might not even be what it is now. So kind of touch upon it a little bit, just in general. We don't need to go in depth of it, but kind of talk about, I guess, let's talk about it a little bit from the high school route, like what it means for the high school players, but then also how do you attack it, trying to build a roster along with junior college, and also adding the transfer portal pieces into one. Kind of, I know that's a long-winded question, but trying to add it all into one and trying to make the best pieces of the puzzle and the best roster you can along the way.
Yeah, well, Sammy, you know that's a loaded question. I mean, you asked me an oak tree with a lot of vines. The first part of it is it's very, very difficult now for the high school player. It used to not be this difficult, but it's very, very difficult. The portal's here to stay. I don't think you can put the toothpaste back in the tube at this point. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think NIL or rev share is here to stay. It's more to the point what schools are going to do it, and then how are you going to do it, and to what extent are you going to do it? It's not an even playing field. You know, before there used to be some parity, right, in things, and there used to be an opportunity to potentially go and play, you know, Clemson or South Carolina and get them, you know, or something like that. But when you're playing somebody who's got, you know, $2.5 million on the field, I mean, there's a reason why they're getting $2.5 million, right? It's because they're good players. And, you know, this day and age, coaches are looking for older bulls. They're looking for more mature bulls, right? And that makes it very, very difficult. Going back to the last part of your question, makes it very difficult for the high school player. I don't have the answer for you, except for the only thing that we can do, I think, is what you guys do a great job of, is educating the parents and the players, right? And trying to keep the emotion out of the name that you only may be there for a little while. You may not be there for your whole career, right? It's not a contract that's going to be there for the length of your collegiate career at one place. So I think the thing to do is you have to get smarter about what exactly is out there. What's the landscape of everything? What does it all mean, right? For some schools, NIL means nil. They don't have any, right? And if you don't have any NIL or rev share, then you don't really have a roster limitation unless it's capped by the athletic department in Title IX. So for those schools and for those universities, then that may be a safe haven for a high school player that is going to work while he waits and doesn't want to play immediately and wants to be developed and loves the university for what it is and wants to be there for an extended period of time, right?
Right.
And then you've got the other side of it that, you've got really, really great players out there that are ranked highly and are coveted by Power 4 schools. And now you're having to decide, right? Which one you're going to go to and what is the best fit for you. But I think in all decisions made, if you don't cover the angles and the education piece of what does it mean to commit to this school? What does it mean to rev share? What does it mean for the NIL deal? What do I have to do for that? Is this a 4-year commitment? Is this a 4-year contract? What do I have to do inside of this contract? Then I don't think you can make an educated decision without all of the pieces of the puzzle being out in front of you, right? The second thing I will add to that is I think, so many families say, well, we've never been down this road before. We've never been through this before. I get it. But you would never go walk on a car lot and tell the car salesman that you've never bought a car before because you're going to get taken, right? So lean on whatever your family values are, right? Your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your family unit have brought you up a certain way. Whatever that is, lean on your family values to make, in my estimation, the second most selfish decision you're going to make in your life other than who you marry. And lean on your family. It needs to be a family decision, not just Johnny's decision. Johnny's emotional and big schools and big locker rooms and big stadiums, they win the election, but you got to be there for 4 years. It's going to rain. It's going to get cold. You're going to fail a chemistry test. You're going to give up 5 in the first. Sally Sue's going to kick you to the curb. And then you got to really make sure your coaches and the reason why you picked the university has got to stand the test of all of the things that are going to happen in your collegiate career, good or bad.
Right. And I think the one thing you hit on the head, right? The education piece across the different levels, right? I mean, there's so many different levels there's always been different levels, but in today's day and age, there's even more so. And right, if you just cut on ESPN or you cut on, Twitter or Instagram, everything is football, football, football. So we associate all sports with what's happening in football. Well, at the college baseball level, there's even more different levels across the board. So who has, like you were saying, who has the rev share, who has NIL, who is opted in, who has not opted in, all the different levels. And if I have 5 schools recruiting me, somebody might have some rev share opportunities. Some have maybe just a full scholarship. Some have not opted in. Some are still on the, of the 11.7 and up to the 41 or somewhere. There's so many different levels. Or maybe if it's a Division II or a junior college, and the junior college, there's different levels of that one when it comes to the scholarship. So 100%. I think families, the education piece is huge. And I think a lot of the times people, I know they don't truly understand that every school is in a different situation. Not that they're in bad situations, they're in just different situations. That doesn't mean it's in a wrong situation for their son. And it doesn't mean that they can't go and get better and win and get a great education and go on from there. And I think if you can go somewhere and if we all been to like you said earlier, we've all been to a car dealership where you go, this guy's a bad salesman. This guy's a good salesman. I'd rather buy from this one. It's the same thing when you go talk to a college coach. You know who you trust and who you feel comfortable with. And you go in. I think that's a big situation in there. Now, staying on that point.
I just think, staying with that for 1 second, I think that, your point is this is ever changing as well. I mean, baseball is usually a couple ticks behind football and basketball, and we're watching. Think about a young man who was a really, really good high school basketball player, and he committed to Arizona or Florida last night. And now all of a sudden, 2 years after he committed, there's a guy on the team who's got 1 year of eligibility that was been a professional overseas, and he's been playing in the G League. Like this gate swings both ways. So I think the families and the young men need to understand that, okay, you can go to school X and get developed and you can leave. And the NCAA has made it in their infinite wisdom fine to go to 4 to 5 different schools in 4 years. Okay, well, if you can develop and leave, you also have to understand that the gate is going to swing the other way. If you don't develop, you may be asked to leave and somebody else may come back in that gate. And I think, this is a very, very complex issue. We're not going to solve it. And I don't know if you can solve it. I just think you have to really, really educate yourself about what it all means. And, 15 years ago, Sammy, it was the 16 core courses and nobody's guidance counselor knew how to direct them and educate them. Right. And now it's about, that doesn't even matter because we're doing all that as coaches, right? Telling them to get set up with the NCAA clearinghouse. It's not even a question anymore, but this gate and this portal and all the different levels of Division I, it's a very, very complex web that we're in.
Right. And at the end of the day, for the players themselves out there, right, the only things that they can really control is getting themselves better and being the best baseball player they can be. And that kind of takes care of itself when it's all said and done. Right. There. Because, if you're not developing and getting yourself better, it really doesn't matter when it's all said and done. So now kind of staying on the recruiting pitch. All right, I'm bringing my son just had his 13th birthday the other day on Halloween, and say we fast forward a few years and Dr. K calls us up and says, hey, we want to come down for a visit. Let's give us a spiel of Charleston Southern. Let's talk about a little Charleston Southern baseball, Charleston Southern University. Talk about the opportunities that you guys provide for the players, high school players, transfers, junior college guys. What is the university, what does the baseball program there provide for the players in there to come in there to develop and get better in the educational piece?
Well, the first part is the university. We've got a brand new president. He's been here about a year, and his first 6 months, he just sat back and watched everything. And since then, we've got cranes on campus. He's done unbelievable things. He's infused so much money into the athletic department to help us get to where we need to be to even compete with everybody else in our conference, but even more above our conference, right? We've got 3 Division I schools in Charleston within 15 minutes of each other, and we're all fighting on a Tuesday to beat each other, right? So it's a great place. Charleston is, and it's a destination place. So we're privileged to be one of the 3 schools within 15 minutes of each other and down in a destination hub is Charleston. The university's got more students than it ever has had in its entire existence. We've got over 4,500 students now. That's more than they've ever had before. And this president has done that in a year. They've got a brand new dorm going in on campus. He's made a $5 million renovation to the student cafeteria and all of the fueling stations on campus, around the entire campus. It's not just the cafeteria. It is off the charts. He took Charleston Southern from the 1990s and he brought them right into the 2025s in like that. He's done a great job. We've just had a brand new upgrade to our weight room. That's a brand new facelift to a 5,000 square foot weight room. It's fantastic. Everything in there is brand new. We've got a brand new strength coach. He bought perch. He's bought all of these things that our guys can monitor every lift that they do with an app on their phones. They can do it. They can monitor that when they go home for the holiday break. Our academic team is fantastic. We set a record for the baseball program with GPA last year. Our team GPA was 3.41 for 45 guys. That's pretty darn good. I don't have a lot of rules in our program. One of them is that you do go to class. Other than that, I don't have a lot of rules. I let our guys run our standards. They know what our standards are. Our veterans know what our standards are. I think rules are for guys who are not high achievers. And I don't have a lot of rules. So we have standards in our program. The culture changes every year because you got different characters, right? You have different personalities. Culture is a buzzword. I don't talk about our culture. Our culture kind of develops from inside, and it's organic. But we've got standards that create the culture from year to year. Um, Other than that, we are not opting in. So, as we talked about it earlier, we are not a rev share school as of right now. Obviously, there's always talks about that, but we are not opting in, which means that I don't have to stand at my 34-man roster with all of these tags that, even though you're supposed to be at 34. And again, that's part of the education piece. And I would do that in the recruiting process, that you may think that there's only 34 players at the University of X, but they've got all of these tags that they've put on these players. They could have 50, 55 players, right? And so it's still the exact same animal. But we did not opt in. So I cap it around 43 players. I don't really think that we're a very good coaching staff past that. From a freshman standpoint, I don't want to cut anybody. If there's a freshman that we think really, truly wants to be at our place, at our university, and in our baseball program, then I want him to be there, and I want to develop him as best as we can. I want him to work while he waits. I want him to get bigger and stronger and faster underneath our tutelage, and I want him to stick with us. I want him to stay with us. I don't want him to go somewhere else. That being said, we are just like everybody else. We're trying to get older, and then we're trying to grow within. And the biggest thing for me is I want to meet your parents. Apples don't fall too far from the tree. I'm not just recruiting Johnny. I want to meet Johnny's parents, whether it's on a Zoom, whether it's in person. Whoever is your influence in your life, I want to meet you, because that's going to tell me exactly what I need to know about you, right? If you're in a recruiting meeting with us and the young man turns to his mom after his mom asks a question and say, "Mom, be quiet," that's a red flag for me. Moms can ask whatever they want. Plus, they make the room smell a hell of a lot better. So moms can ask whatever they want. They need to know about their baby, and there's nothing embarrassing from any mom question at all. I just want good boys. I want good kids. I want guys that want to hook it up. I want dogs. I want junkyard dogs. I want guys that want to eat off the floor. We drink out of the water hose. We're not a privileged program, and our guys work for everything they get, and they get it when they earn it. And I know it's a little hard to believe coming from Virginia, but that's the way that I made myself a player. That's the way that I made myself a coach. And I want all of our guys to be blue collar. I know that that's another buzzword, but man, we're going to have dirt on our nails. We're going to take care of our own field. We've got everything everybody else has. We've got TrackMan, we've got True Media, we've got Synergy, we've got everything that everybody else has that spits out all the reports. But I still ask our players to do their quality at bats. I still ask their players to do their pitching efficiencies, because it's important for them to do their own homework and take a vested interest in their development. I just want good, loyal guys that want to hook it up and want to be coached by really, really good men. And we've got some great coaches here that keep me in line, keep me straight, and man, they are the reason why we won 31 games last year. The assistant coaches are the reason why we have taken this to another level. And it's not, we are a servanthood first program, and we serve each other. 2 players every day in our program. We put out a calendar, 2 players every day, clean our entire locker room and kitchen area every day. Now, we've got a maid service that comes in, but they're going to have a vested interest in cleaning up their room and cleaning up for one another, right? But we've got great coaches that do a great job, and they are vested in every one of our players' lives on the field and off the field. And we talk to our kids off the field more than we do on the field, believe it or not, because if they don't feel like you care about them, then they're not going to move the needle for you.
100%. They're just going to go, this guy he doesn't care about me. He doesn't care what's going on, doesn't know. And it's, your conference has gotten better and better and better and harder and harder and harder to win. I mean, obviously you guys playing for it last year, getting the crack right there, in the championship game to, make a move for it. Upstate won it. Then you got, High Point's making a move and getting in the right direction. They won it a couple of years ago. Winthrop's on the upswing going into that thing. I mean, it's a tough conference, which as a player, that's where you want to go. You want to go play against good competition with good people around you and good players. So it's you kind of got everything you need from a player standpoint to where you want to go and get yourself better. Now, I will throw a little piece to let you talk a little bit more before we let you get out of here. Talk a little bit about what a company like Prep Baseball does for you from a recruiting standpoint. What are some things like from the player standpoint? Like even like I know we're dominated by the high school players, but we do a lot of stuff on the junior college end as well. But what is some stuff that like we do that helps the high school player that also helps you guys out?
Well, I'll say this. You are an accomplished baseball voice. And because you have worn our shoes and because you have been in this profession and you've been at the highest level, what you say and what you put out and what events you hold and how someone does at those events, they take all of the guesswork out of it for our coaches in this state. I'm just speaking about myself, but I have talked to many coaches because you are a trustworthy voice. You're a trustworthy evaluator. And if you say someone runs a 6.7, they run a 6.7, I don't need to try to corroborate that from anybody else. You guys are everywhere. Budgets, Sammy, are not what they used to be. And we can't go out like we used to go out 10, 15 years ago. COVID kind of killed that as well. And so the fact that you guys cover the entire state, which is our job to get the great players in our state to try to stay home, you basically are the foot soldiers for every college program and junior college program in the state. And you advocate for every single one of those players, whatever their age is. You advocate for every one of them because you give them a platform to showcase their talents. You give them a measuring stick, and then you quantify it by how good they have gotten from one year to the next, so we can see how good they've gotten from one year to the next. Your vehicle is invaluable to our success in covering and finding talent in this state. I don't know how we would do it without you, to be quite honest.
Well, I appreciate that. A lot of some kind words there from you, so I definitely appreciate it. But it makes it, for us, I know a lot of people think, for us, it's fun to go watch. And we've talked about this all the time. Me and Drew talk about this. Me and Sean, we talk about it. Like watching these players grow from their freshman year. Some of these guys we've seen before their freshman year, and you grow and you see them and you go off into college. And then you see some of these players get called up through the minor leagues, and some of them, heck, here soon going to be called up into the big leagues. And it makes it neat and special and watch them go on. It makes it neat. And all of a sudden, they'll call and go, hey, recruiting advice. So this is about to happen, or we're getting recruited here. That makes it really neat for us. When you guys are now calling them and they're asking our opinion, saying, hey, what do you think here? What do you think of these guys? That makes it really neat and special for us. And that's why I keep doing this one. I think that's the fun and enjoyable part of this job for us, is to watch these players grow and chase their hopes and dreams. The reality is majority of these players are going to end at the high school level, but their hopes and dreams are to continue on. And if we can provide a little bit of, vehicle for them to get off that next one, the more we can. And if it takes us getting out there at some high school games and running a few events and showing up at your places and putting on some good events for those guys, and that's what we take. So, but we, Coach, I know we probably ran a little bit longer tonight, but I think we can probably hold this show with me and you on here for probably about 3, 4, 5 hours on here. But we definitely appreciate you hopping on here tonight and taking some time and showing off that brand new swag and,
Thanks, buddy.
being our first coach, number one of this year. So we appreciate you hopping on and wish you nothing but the best of luck for your second year over there as the head man at Charleston Southern.
Thanks, buddy. Well, listen, you mentioned it was special to you to see these kids progress, and it's special to you and Drew because you care. If you didn't care, then it wouldn't be special. It'd just be a job, but you do care. And these parents need to know that you do care and you're doing it for the kids and you're doing it, even if they don't go anywhere past high school, to go out and have to do something under pressure is getting them ready for whatever they're going to be in life, whether it's a professional businessman, dad, husband, performing under pressure or not performing under pressure, even if that's the vehicle that you're providing for them, then God love you for it, man. That's that. Not everybody can be a big leaguer and not everybody can be a college baseball player, but everybody can learn to perform under pressure. And if that's the only vehicle you're providing, you're doing it because you care, then it needs to still happen.
No doubt. Well, we definitely appreciate that one. So we're going to keep running around this state with our heads cut off and trying to promote these boys the best we can out there. So we enjoy it. So.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys.
No problem. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate you.
All right, guys. Have a good holiday season, man. Take care.
You do the same.
Thank you too. Bye. I'm good now.
Coach Drewski, how's that nose? You're hanging in there?
Okay, Richburg Rocket.
Rocket got a hold of him.
Had to drop some packages off. Coach, a very short little addition here at the end, wrapping up, Coach, here. High school preview shows began on Monday night. We had 2. We've got 16 total signed up. Last year we had 24. I got a feeling, Coach, we're going to exceed that 24 this year.
I agree.
We got 2 Thursday night. We got Legion Collegiate and Daniel High will be live on those Thursday night at 6 and 7. Stay tuned. Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays are the days. That's the days. Coaches, if you haven't signed up, make sure to sign up. Social media. The link is on social media. Go check it out. Sign up through that. Coach Espo, your big events are have winded down. However, you've got a winter hitting update coming up very soon.
Yeah, December 13th, heading back down to Conway. Diamond Leaf facility down there, Mike Williams' place. So second year doing that one down there. Awesome event we ran down there last year. Hitting only update, blast, TrackMan, fun environment, a lot of competition. They got big screens all over the place. We put the TrackMan on the big screen and just kind of let the guys go at it and have some fun and get some big updated numbers down there and kind of see some of that winter work that, the off-season work guys are putting in. And then leading into that, middle of December, getting ready for a January time frame. But a lot of fun last year when we were down there. The guys had a blast with it. See how the roster works out this year. But last year we had pretty much even numbers for an underclass and the upper class, and really did 2 competitions for the players with some exit velos and exit distance, and gave out some gear to the winners. So heading back down there December 13th for kind of the last hurrah for the year for our main events with that one. So that's always a fun one. But the week before that, right, one last scout day down there at the PD Regional with Coach Urquhart with Florence Post 1. So big scout day down in the region, the PD region. So that's always one of our favorite ones down in that area. Depending on how the high school football playoffs goes, we always got good turnout down there. So we're excited to get down there for Coach Urquhart and his crew down in Florence. Drew won't have any reason not to come this year. His team will not be playing.
No. I'm a Yellow Jacket fan. I'm a Yellow Jacket fan. I've switched over.
Oh, I hear you.
Coach, you just had Scout Day at the beach on Sunday. You had Open ID Freshman Free Rising Stars event, a big event on Sunday as well.
Coach, we've had a busy month. It's been awesome. I've enjoyed it. We've been running wide open. It's been a blast. But yeah, this past Sunday, we were at Lexington High School. Coach Hucks opened up the doors. Beautiful day, beautiful facility. 3 events all in one. The Open ID, the Freshman Free, Rising Stars all in one. 3 different jersey colors. Kind of split them up, ran them together. A lot of talent running out there across those guys. We're going to start kind of Hopefully towards the back end of this week, we'll start getting a lot of content going out there. We got a lot of social media stuff was kind of flowing on Sunday for that one, and probably get a couple more things coming out either yesterday, today as well. But probably the back end of this week, we'll start with some stories. Got all those stats and everything were inputted going into those profiles. But a beautiful day out there on Sunday. And then, yesterday was Monday, right? I get all my days confused. Yesterday, we finished up our last scout day at the beach with the host of St. James High School. A little bit different because we rolled in November. We couldn't have any help from the high school coaches. But we still had some big-time talent. I had an arm up to 88.9. Had another younger arm up to 86, a big, tall, skinny guy. So, again, more content rolling in. Updated all those stats this morning. Got back late last night, updated all their stats. All that stuff's going to start flowing as well later on this week. So, tons of play. Hey, and that's the one thing I do want to mention. We did these high school scout days this year. First time ever. 4 different ones. I don't know how many different. I'd have to go back and look off the top of my head. I'd probably laugh. I said the amount of schools. We had the 2 schools by themselves, Daniel to start it off, and then Malden. And then we were down in the low country. We had 3 or 4 different high schools represented. And then last night, probably 3 or 4, maybe a 5th high school represented. But the amount of talent that has popped out. And then not only that, us traveling around to the 4 different areas of the state, getting out and seeing so many different players that we probably got to see 90 to 110 different new players that we haven't seen before. And that's what is huge and important to us with these events, that we were able to, right up to Daniel, up there by you, up in the northwest part of the state. Then up to Malden, up there, still in the upstate, but not as far, the western part of it. And then we go down in the low country, and then up by the beach, a little bit, more northern part of the beach, but 4 different areas, and to see so many more players, and a lot of new players that have never been to an event, and a couple of those arms last night, a couple other players we'd seen earlier that I go, hey, hang in there. Stay healthy. Stay what you're going to do. You're going to get some big invites coming out soon. So that's what's important to these events for us. Allows us to come travel around the state and see these players. And there's going to be there's going to be a lot of changes to these rankings because we're seeing a lot of these players out there.
Welcome to our traveling circus.
Yeah.
We have different animals each time we come.
Every time.
Coach, before I get to the next episode here, anything else to add on episode 130, anniversary?
I don't think so. I'm sure we can probably get into some, but I'm about talked out. But yeah.
About talked out. So speaking of that, episode 131 next Tuesday night at 7:00. Coach, back at you. Clemson will join the show. I heard Sean's going to miss again. Hey, Sean's one that texted me, said, hey, they got Chubbs. I'm like, Chubbs on Debbie Gilmore?
Yep. Yeah, he lost his hand in an alligator action, I heard.
But anyway, so make sure you tune into that one as our college tour rolls on here on the Palmetto Dugout Show. So for our 130th anniversary with just 2 of us. Oh, what?
So I'm out. Hey, speaking of events real quick before we end the anniversary show, it'll either be towards the back end of this week. We have booked, almost officially booked our preseason all-state events. The shipyard is booked again. The second one, or technically it'll be our first one, is almost booked, but we got to solidify the exact date. It's going to be the Saturday or Sunday. I got to get that one solidified, but that'll be locked in. As soon as I get that locked in, hopefully tomorrow, and we're going to start working on the campaign and getting those invites out for the preseason all states. I do want to touch on this real quick. The future games, senior future games, junior future games, and super sophomore, right? Hot ticket items. hot ticket items, right? It is, and it starts in January, right? It starts with those preseason all states. It starts with our open ID that we're running in January. Those events are huge. Those are big qualifiers starting off in January. So if you have hopes and aspirations of making those things or getting an opportunity to be on that future, and the one thing that we're going to do a lot better of a job this year with our emailing campaign with those invites, if you're a 28 class and you want to be in that future game, it starts in January, right? It doesn't end just there, but it starts in January. So those are going to be ones we're going to start off with those marketing emailing campaigns, invites going to be hopefully going out starting either the end of this week and the beginning of next week for those. So be on the lookout.
I can't wait. Fired up. So make
circus.
sure. Hey, we'll see you Thursday night on the live with Daniel High School and Legion Collegiate. Then we've got some other things Sunday, more previews Monday. But episode 131 will be on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock with Coach Backett. So make sure we'll remind you as we get close to that. So that's going to end us for the 130th anniversary with just the two of us. Maybe just somebody else will join next week. But however, from all of us here at Prep Baseball South Carolina, we hope you have a great week.